Hello, mujeres. Welcome back to another episode. And this one is going to be so good. I feel like I say that, but this is going to be so good. Okay. So today we will continue with our series to highlight motherhood and entrepreneurship and have conversations with mujeres who have done it. So, Heidi, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well. ¿Cómo estás?
I'm excited to have you here. I feel like
Me
the
too. Thank
universe
you.
just sent me this gift of you have her for 45 minutes, a little bit less, but we're going to make the best of it. So I had the opportunity to connect with you through a mastermind program, and I fell in love with your music and I fell in love with your purpose. Can we talk about who is Heidi Rojas?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question, and I'm learning every day. Who am I? I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a Los Angelino, which means a lot right now because we're still, as a city, recovering from the LA fires. I'm an artist, always have been, a songwriter, and an author. I published a children's book last November through Con Todo Press. And of course, it's bilingual. And then I'm also an activist. I stand up for what I believe in, and I'm trying to support and help causes that are important to me as I grow as a human being and as a mother. So I'm very dynamic and complicated, and I'm a healing human being who is kind of just writing songs and putting my healing on display through this music, and really feeling like this is I'm fulfilling my purpose. And so it has been a pretty amazing couple years since I've been putting out my own music as an artist, which is another way of just claiming so much of who I was before I had kids. And so, yeah, those are kind of all the tentacles of who I am.
Yes. And you are a creative. And I do want to acknowledge because many of the people that listen to the podcast, many of our members in the different programs that we have are actually from LA. And
Oh,
so
cool.
when you were saying that, I was like, the abrazo, like I send you a big hug and
Oh,
we can
thank
still
you.
support, right? Like let's do a call to action right now. We can still support the people that is still need the help. Instagram and sometimes the news forget that it takes a while for people to recover. So I just want to plug in my cry for help because we still need help. So
Yeah.
mujeres, if you're able to support in any way, please do so. Okay. And I'm gonna actually add some links on the show notes to make sure that we do that because we like to create impact as well. And Heidi, I was reading through your bio and I literally have to bring like a babero. I was drooling over everything that you have created. You are a beautiful artist con un vocerrón también, because I'm going to give you your flowers. And you have created songs for artists like Pitbull. How does one find those opportunities?
So yeah, I did. I wrote a bunch of songs for other artists, and honestly, the opportunity kind of fell in my lap because I moved out to LA. I was 24 years old. I had an EP that I'd written. I was an artist. I was inspired by R&B soul artists like Lauryn Hill and Nika Costa and Joss Stone and Alan Stone. And I was just, I was here trying to, I decided I'm going to move to the capital of pop music, right? And try my luck as an artist. But then somebody told me, really wise, told me, the best way to get into the rooms with people who would write with you is if you're writing for other artists. And just say that you're writing for other artists. And you never know. Maybe you'll release the song, or maybe another artist will release the song. And so I was like, okay, I'll just do that. So it was easier to get sessions with writers and producers who would understood that the song is for anyone. It's not just for me, right? And so I did that and ended up getting songs cut with artists like Alan Stone and New Kids on the Block, and Pitbull featured on a song, and Little Mix's Wings and Cheryl Cole, and all these artists that, and I just kind of was like, gosh, this is so fun. I love being a writer for other people. And then I can have a normal life and not have to go on tour or do social media or all that stuff. And so I just thought, well, this will be my life. But then I had kids and I started signing artists with a girlfriend of mine who's an incredible, her name's Lauren Christie. She's a massive writer and producer in her own right. And she and I are mothers. And we decided we're going to take a couple of young female artists under our wing and just help them navigate this like male dominated industry. And we're just going to see what happens. And we got one of them signed to Republic and one of them signed to a publishing deal. And it was cool. But then through that process, we both realized like we could do this. Okay, yeah, I'm 37 and she was in her early 50s. And we were just like, what does that mean? Why does that have to stop us? Right. So that's kind of how we both actually ended up releasing our own music. But the writing for others was never the plan. It just ended up being something that, despite feel like having a very undeniable fire for my own artistry throughout this decade that I was writing for others, I had some success and it was really fun. And I'm so grateful for that time because I think that in supporting other artists, I've helped bring me to and find my voice. And it's like I put in my time. I became a better writer through that process too, so that I could write these songs that are now like my songs, my soul songs.
And what a gift for all of us, because like I listened to your song, like you released a little short part of a song on Instagram before I think it was available for everyone, and Mother Creator song was
Yeah.
like OMG, like I not only wanted to dance, but I actually felt what you were singing. So thank you for doing that. It still is because I still listen to it, and I just love how you're owning everything. And part of it is also the fact that you have put yourself through a healing journey, and it shows, right? Like it's showing the process, it's showing who you are becoming. And age is just a number, right? Like you are going to keep going, and I'm here for it because I do want to see you. But I want to talk about something that really resonated with me in terms of like doing work for other people. How does one overcome the fear of letting go of a piece of intellectual property that is yours, and then how do you even charge for that? Because maybe we have a listener right now that wants to do that, but they have no idea how much do I charge, because you
Mhm.
work out with top artists.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the Wild West, to be honest with you. There's no set like I think that's one of the things that it's a blessing and a curse. I went to college and I went to school with a bunch of nurses. They were all in the nursing program, and I just remember like they had such security. They had such a set like if I graduate from this and then I do my residency and then this is what I'm gonna there's no window of what I'm gonna make. This is how I'm gonna get paid. This is who I can work for. Like I want to work in the ER at these hospitals. It's all just like so structured, and the music
So
industry
linear.
is so not like that. So you kind of have to come up with, I spent years finding creative ways to monetize my art. I am a songwriting coach now, and it's only 2 days a week. When I'm booked up. But it's been really fun to pour into artists and writers from all over the world who want exactly like the answers like what you're asking, because it's so much more complicated than being like, well, you can sell your song for this much money and this is who you send it to and this is it. It's like you have to be super creative in how you get in front of the right people. A lot of artists only want to write like themselves with other people. So pitching songs really is not as much a thing as it used to be, because artists are really taking ownership of their own voice, what they want to say. And so the the industry is shifting and pivoting in so many millions of ways over the last even just the last 5-10 years. So it's not as I wish I could tell you like this is how to do it and this is what you charge, because it's really just so dynamic. But I would love to get really deep dive. If anybody wants to have a conversation or even a consultation, like I'd be happy to jump on a call to, kind of just get a better idea of what they want to do and what kind of music it is that they want to share, and then come up with creative ways together to get that ball rolling.
Yes, absolutely. And we're gonna link your website on the show notes, because yes, we value collaboration, and we also believe in circulating our dollars and investment back to our community. So buen trabajo, like plugging that, work with me, because we totally like love that. Okay. Now I wanna ask you, you are a songwriter, you also coach people, You recently launched a book, I Am Enough. So how many income streams do you have, mujer? Because I'm chismosa. Like, I want to know. I want to normalize that.
Okay, so I can sit here and be like, oh, I have all these income streams, or I can be completely honest with you and say that I have invested a lot of my time and money and my obviously my entire heart into putting out this music. Music doesn't really make a lot of money. So as far as streams, I've made a few $1,000s, but I haven't made my money back from the money that I spent on producer fees and doing the photo shoots and doing the promotion, like all of that, content, videos, makeup, all that stuff. Not even close, not even 10%. So it's tough for artists, it's something to consider when you listen to your favorite music, because thinking about how do they support themselves. I mean, I am an independent artist at like this, I'm starting out, it's only been a couple of years, but there are artists who are on labels who are struggling. There are artists who are on, and they don't have the financial support perhaps of family members or people who can, help them. So always, always, always think like, how can I support my favorite artist? Because it's the music industry is not, unless you're Beyonce or Taylor Swift, right? Like there's definitely levels of success. And then, the coaching is great. It's been really helpful in, I have 2 little kids, so I have a 4 and a 6-year-old. So when I started coaching during the pandemic, I just thought, gosh, this is going to be really helpful for preschool, for paying for preschool for 2 kids, right? And so it's always just been extra income that I welcome and I'm grateful for. And then, the book, it's my first launch. So I admit that I went to school for business, for marketing, but I don't know the first thing about marketing a children's book. I don't know. I've never been in that space before. So instead of giving myself a hard time and trying to like learn an entire system within the hours that I have to be creative for everything that I try to choose the things that I'm best at. Right. So I'm not very good at promoting a children's book. And for that reason, hasn't sold very many copies, right? But I am really good at writing songs. I am really good at connecting with people, and I'm just going to keep doing that because it's what I enjoy, And I'm trusting that if I continue to focus on the things that make me feel at home and excited and confident and empowered, that the book will find its way into people's hearts. Like that book is never going to go away. So I don't think people are going to be like, oh, that book's from 2024. It's so last year, whatever. You know what I mean? Like that
That's
book
your
can
legacy.
blow up. Watch it blow up in 3 years. Like I still have faith that the words are eternal. The words are deep and important. So they'll find their way to the right people. So
Yeah.
ultimately, all of that to say, I'm doing so many different things and I'm working through my relationship with money to not just value myself and my art and decide, my art is worthy of being paid for. My art is worthy of taking up space in that way. And then also saying, I like even the idea, honestly, of like saying, I should charge for that. I should take a rate, right? Like instead of like, oh no, like don't worry, like, and because my heart is to just give, right?
Or no es nada. That's such a big limiting belief in our community. Like, no es nada.
No, yeah, no, it's not. No, it's not. And like, and then we end up kind of burning out, or we end up doing too much. And so it's been 2 years since I put out my first single as an artist. So I'm still a baby. I'm still learning to navigate how to turn something that was just a creative outlet for me, that was just a way to express myself, that had nothing to do with my kids, but really everything to do with me kind of coming back home to myself after motherhood. And like realizing that it's actually resonating with a lot of people, and that I have over 1 million streams on Spotify, that I have almost 200,000 followers on Instagram. I mean, like I've never in my wildest dreams thought that any of that would happen. And so now I'm like, okay, I do think I need to start looking at this eventually as a business that can, as also being a business, not just a heart, like a soul project, but that can generate revenue, that I can, get some money back and then maybe make some money. Like but it's just, there's so much to unpack there, right? In order for it to
It
be
is a
like,
process,
yeah,
especially when we are launching a business, when we're in the beginning of our healing journey or the middle, right? Because the end never comes.
right.
It's a process, and I think that that's something that I also want to normalize: believing in what you have to offer, and also be patient, because there's so many people out there telling you that you're gonna make a million like 90 days, and that's totally false. And it's about trusting, in your case, your voice, your art, your words, because your words are so powerful. And I do believe that if we continue to show up and be consistent with what we're doing, then we can have the multiple income streams. And some people make it in a year, some people make it 2 years, some people take 5 years. But as long as you keep believing in that mission, then it will happen. So thank you so much for sharing that. Now you talk about your babies, your nenes. Well, they're not babies, but
They're my babies.
I call them like nenes.
These names.
How do you manage your schedule with your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So um, I'm really working toward, my kids are at school from like 8:30 to 2. And that is my time. That is where I have time to work out. It's where I have time to hang out with friends. It's where I have time to get groceries. It's where I have time to do my music, right? So I'm meeting with producers, taking meetings, I'm meeting with you. It is between 9 usually that I get home till I have to leave around 1:45, right? And so what I've been trying to, because sometimes I would bring them home and then be like, okay, ponete que 30 minutes on the TV, and then I would like do some more emails. And then I would trying to get work done even when they're here is like the most insane thing to do, but we always try, right? Like we're always just like, maybe I can fold the laundry while they play or whatever. And it just feels like it's like trying to herd a bunch of wild animals while also trying to like paint a picture of something, like, and it's just like, I think what I'm best when I just, okay, I clock out at 2, it's time to be a mother. And then that in my creative flow is just different with them and I can just pour into them. And so that's the balance of that I think is best when I'm really just like, think of it as like, these are my work hours, right? And these are my family hours. And I'm not going to cross because then I get stressed. I get less done. I get like, I'm just going to really be enfocada. And when I'm working out or when I have coffee with a friend, which I try to put in at least like 3-4 times a week into that 5-day work week, I'm so much more efficient in that 1 hour that I like have committed to working than if I was to sit down and go, okay, I have 3 hours to do all of this, these emails. And so
Yeah.
I've been trying to break it up and get out and do more things. And I feel like it's easier to do that when gets it gets sunny earlier and the sun stays out longer. So we feel like we have these longer days. Que no estamos like racing to try to get stuff done before 4:30 because it gets dark and it's like nighttime. So I love spring and I love summer because it makes me feel like we have more time. So I'm not
Yes.
but yeah, the balance is like you said, it's a never ending healing process. The balance of motherhood with all the other roles that we play is never ending. It's trying to find that calm, find that like joy in being in the present moment with our niños, because I call them mis nenes también, because they're growing so fast that just like that, like
Yeah. I have a 7-year-old now, and I don't even know how that happened. I'm like, you were just a baby yesterday, and now she's 7. And I do exactly what you do too. Like, I run my business when they are in school, and then when they get home, turn my phone off intentionally. Like, I don't even put it on do not disturb. I just turn it off so I can be present with them. And they also have extracurriculum activities. Like, for example, today, by the time we're recording this podcast, I'm going to take them to a climb class because they want to learn how to climb. And
oh,
so
that's
I
cool.
schedule everything so I can be there for them. And as I'm there, I also make sure to leave my phone in the car because I'm really good at like, oh, just check it fast. And so I'm like, no, I have to make sure that I'm here with them and learning to arrange my schedule in a way where I don't do everything. Like you talk about laundry and folding clothes, like I have a specific day of the week when I do that. And sometimes I'm like, but it doesn't take me long. And I'm like, no, Lucy, you have to focus on other things because I get distracted so easily. So I think if anybody's thinking about like launching a business or an idea, that will be what I will say. Make sure that you block the time. And it doesn't have to be 40 hours a week. It could be like you, 1 hour. And that hour is productive, right? Without the guilt. And that's how you make it happen. So I love that you share that. So thank you for that. I want to ask you about, because you're in such a healing era, your songs are about healing. You're talking about your journey. Healing is hard for some people, and not everyone wants to do the work.
Mm,
What inspired you, or what happened that you're like, it's time for me to come back to myself, using your own words?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I started going to therapy 10 years ago, and it was really shifting in the way that I talk to myself and the way that I understand my own brain. It really blows my mind. I read this book called The Whole Brain Child, and it blows my mind that we don't learn those kind of, that information. I remember second grade, I learned how to balance a checkbook, but I don't know why I'm so angsty and have so much like inner dread about going to school. Like, it's so normal, it's so natural. And a lot of times we're really hard on each other and we put these expectations. And so learning more about my brain, how it works, and also then kind of reprogramming the way that I talk to myself, giving myself more grace because I understand better where I'm coming from, and was the first kind of pivotal moment. Then I became a mom. So 2018, I became a mother. So I'm looking at this baby and I'm thinking, my perfectionism kicked in again. And I go, I need to take care of her. I need to be perfect. I need to be perfect mother for her. I need to take care of her um, and raise her to be a good person. And the pressure that I put on myself in the first 3 months was insane. And I was like not having very much fun. Like, I loved her and I was it was the most incredible sacred experience. But at the same time in my head, I was just like, no puedo olvidarme de esto and this and that. And like, it just was like this transactional, all these things that I was worried so much about. So I realized, like, girl, I need to slow down. I need to really kind of work through, like, what is the reason why I have all of these feelings. And then after the pandemic, honestly, it was like the pandemic for me, because I had my son during the pandemic, 2020 of September. I kind of coming back into the real world, 20 end of 2021, 2022. I had a ton of social anxiety, I think, because I had really enjoyed being like at home with my family, with my daughter who was under 2, and my son and my parents who live here with us, and my husband. And so going back out into the world, I was just didn't want to go to parties, I didn't want to go hang out. And so I had to do a lot of self-reflection. So my healing process started with like my identity as a Latina, kind of growing up in the Midwest and feeling like I was always the La Gringa or the brown girl, right? And then how I show up socially, even at 30, I was 36, right? How that affected me socially, even at that age, went back all the way to my childhood. So I worked through stuff like that. I deconstructed my religious upbringing in the sense that, like, there are a lot of pieces that were really beautiful and wonderful that I want to instill in my children. And there were a lot of pieces I would actually like to say, don't serve me, and let them go. So many, my relationship with money, my relationship with sex, my relationship with just so many different things that I didn't think about were molding me into who I was and how I respond to things every day, right? Like, and so, yeah, and through that, I started feeling this creative, just like fire, this awakening. And I just started writing songs. Because what did I do when I was little? I wrote songs,
Yeah.
even while I was writing for other artists, I was writing little songs here and there. I just didn't think they were anything. And I think if my aunts, like, truly I felt called by my ancestors, by mis abuelitos, and by everybody who came before me to just take these seriously. Like, okay, take these songs seriously because we need the world to hear them, as opposed to, you know, what I had done so much of just like, oh no, but like, you know, I'm gonna let Pitbull do his thing. I'm gonna let, you know, these, you know, the next artist
Little
that's
mix.
cutting my song, Little Mix, and like do their thing, and Dove Cameron can do her thing, and this, it'll be fine. I'll just be over here behind the scenes. I decided, you know what, I think I need to just like put these out there. And with zero expectation, zero understanding of what I was actually getting myself into, really just kind of like, yeah, let's just do it. I mean,
It's
no one's gonna
you. I
care.
mean, everything that I see that you put out there, whether it's a reel or words or music, like it's you. And I think that's one of the things that I hope our listeners take away from this episode is that your creative and your son of genius can be monetized and can give you the opportunity to create something. And I don't know how you were raised, but like as Latinas, sometimes we hear this like, don't be too creative because like if you want to paint or write or sing or dance or anything that has to do with being a creative, it's almost seen as te vas a quedar pobre, right? And that's why our parents push us to ve al colegio, ser doctora, abogada, all of these linear things. At least what I'm finding now with these special series that we are creating for motherhood and entrepreneurship is that a lot of us are actually making money because we came back to our inner child and we healed the inner child, and whatever she wasn't allowed to do back then she's doing now. Like you're singing, you're writing. I have a podcast. I love to talk. I love to be in front of people. Everything that was told that wasn't going to make me money is what's making me money now. And so it's, to me, that's just fascinating how we go back like a full 360 to go back to who we were, to who we are. But a lot of people don't give themselves permissions to open up to that. So I just love hearing about your healing journey so much, Heidi. Now, I
Mm.
want to ask you, what is your definition of wealth?
My definition of wealth, having been, I mean, I grew up in a household of immigrants who were fortunate enough to experience the American dream, but also believed in themselves enough to chase it and to achieve it. And I also think that wealth for me is because I've always, I mean, I've probably said this 100 times where I've been like, if I just get this much money, I won't have to worry about money anymore. And then you reach it, and there's this new number that makes me feel like, okay, actually, I'll feel safe if there's that number. And so I don't think wealth exists in the sense, in the way that we talk about it, in the way that we think that it's like financial stability, financial freedom, I think wealth is so much for me deeper in, and not about money as much as it is just about like wealth of people who love you, wealth of loving ourselves, the wealth of being able to go get a coffee or you know, un sanguche con the drink and the cookie and the chips and the, like, that's just the ability of having more than we need on a day like today, on a Tuesday, like that feels, I feel so wealthy, you know? And so I think I'm simplifying it because I've seen a lot of the chasing. I've done a lot of the chasing and realized que voy a seguir en esa ruta, nunca voy a like alcanzar esa meta. I will never get to the goal because the goal will just keep moving. And so, and I want to be wealthy now because there's a lot going on in the world. Like, what if we don't
Yes.
make it to, you know, like, and so, like, I don't want to keep chasing wealth. I want to be wealthy today. I want to be wealthy
Mm,
now. And I can, and by redefining it and welcoming um, abundance in so many other ways that I already have it, I realize like I am so wealthy, and that that's it for me, you know, like I have, and I think in believing that I am already, we call and manifest more of what we have so that we can then be even more wealthy. And right now, like, okay, yeah, like my income, my I have so many things that I'm sharing and putting out from my heart that are not making a ton of money right now. But I do truly believe that if I keep fulfilling my purpose, my that that it will come. I've done speaking engagements, I've done brand partnerships, I've done guest appearances, I've done live performances where people are paying me. They're like, this is all new to me, right? And I believe that there will be more of those if I continue to just pursue. And what you said is so true about how these creative journeys, these trailblazer paths that we take as Latinas, make us look like we're crazy because they're not those linear paths. But there's heavy is the head that wears the crown of a path that is where the possibilities are endless. Because
Yes.
it's not a clear, like, I can't explain to you how I'm going to make millions of dollars, but I believe that my art is worth millions of dollars. And that I believe
Yes.
songs I've never written yet are worth millions of dollars. I believe that they're inside of me and that I'm doing the work to bring them out. And so, yeah, that's what I believe. I believe I'm already wealthy, and I believe in myself to welcome more.
And
I'm
I
just
believe in that too. And in fact, I felt it when you're saying that. My body's like, it's happening for her already. Like my whole body just went on this like flow of like, she has all this wealth, right? And I agree with you. Wealth is not just about the number in the bank account, it's about the relationships, the talents that we have, the community that we serve. And sometimes wealth, yeah, is having access to the panecito, el cafecito, because having that time to slow down and actually savor what it tastes like, una dona, una concha, whatever it is that you like that is also wealth. So I love our conversation, and I want to thank you for coming to the show.
of
You already
course.
shared how can we support you, but go ahead and do it again. How can we support your growth as an artist and as someone who has beautiful music that literally was written for us?
Thank you. Yes, please listen to my music. Put it on your favorite playlist. Buy my bilingual children's book. I am enough. Soy fuerte ya. You can book a conversation. Let's write a song together. Let's talk about your artistic aspirations over through a coaching call. And just Heidi Rojas music on all platforms. And just check me out because I'll be putting more as I just feel inspired. I'm so honored to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. And I will add a link to her music, her website, and the book on the show notes. So, mujeres, make sure you check it out. And don't forget to follow Heidi. And also, do me a favor and make the little time, less than 5 minutes, to give us a written review on Apple Podcasts. This is how other mujeres find us. And with that, let's go ahead and build wealth juntas. Hasta la próxima.